When I came out of the library, I bumped right into a guy's arms. I repeatedly apologized. He gave a calm smile and said it was okay. The next moment, I overheard his inner thoughts. Oh my, I actually bumped into the campus belle. She looks even prettier in person than in the photos on the school wall. It's just a shame that such a beautiful girl is actually love-struck. She's been blinded by that scumbag Felix and remains completely devoted to him. She doesn't even realize there's already a whole green pasture growing on her head. The boy's expression turned regretful as his inner voice continued, but I can't blame her. I heard that Felix was a master of romance back in high school. Someone of that caliber is not something a girl as innocent as Nina could see through. After an intense internal struggle, he suggested adding contact information. Nina, what a coincidence running into you here. I heard you also signed up for the entrepreneurship competition. I'm Ryan, a student mentor for our college. Let's add each other so it's easier to coordinate later. I happily agreed, and a flicker of delight appeared on Ryan's face. Immediately, his inner voice echoed, heavens, am I dreaming? I actually managed to add Nina. But how can I make her see Felix's true colors? If she goes to the newly opened milk tea shop at the school gate now, she might still catch him in the act. After a moment of conflicted thought, Ryan casually remarked to me, by the way, the new milk tea shop at the school gate seems pretty good. I saw a lot of girls lining up there, you might want to try it. But what Ryan didn't know was that I had been reborn. In my previous life, I had also heard his inner thoughts like this. To verify whether Felix really was a scumbag, I rushed straight to the milk tea shop. There, I happened to see a girl holding a milk tea cup, blushing shyly as she leaned into his arms. That girl noticed me first. She only lingered on Felix for a moment before raising her head, casting a challenging gaze at me through the glass of the milk tea shop. Filled with rage, I took out my phone, told Felix we were breaking up, and proceeded to block and delete him in one swift motion. In the days that followed, Ryan and I grew closer and closer. Knowing that his family was impoverished, with a sick mother and a college sophomore sister majoring in arts who needed support, and also because my own family was financially comfortable, I often helped him. Over time, the two of us ended up together. Later, we even stepped into the hall of marriage. Initially, Felix didn't understand why I suddenly broke up with him and frantically added me as a friend, hoping for an explanation. But every time I thought of giving him another chance, Ryan's inner voice beside me would disrupt my thoughts. Tisk, Nina wouldn't be softening up, would she? Felix, after all, is the male lead in this novel world. Even after making a fundamental mistake, he can still earn forgiveness from others. What a pity for Nina, such a great female second lead, destined to serve as a blood bank for Felix and act as a stepping stone on his Playboy journey. And that's not all. It's truly a shame that Nina's parents, such good people, were used by Felix and then cast aside. Her father even fell gravely ill because of it. I was struck as if by lightning. Felix was the top scorer in the city's college entrance exam, stood at 185 centimeters tall, had an exceptionally handsome appearance, and came from a comfortably well-off family. Such an unbelievable combination made him the target of countless admirers from the start of high school. I often thought that if it weren't for being in the same high school as him, I might not have been able to seize the opportunity. Someone like him truly lived up to the description of a novel's male lead. On top of that, when he started his business in his sophomore year of college, I provided him with $3 million in startup capital. It really did align with Ryan's thoughts, turning me into Felix's financial support. The thought that being with Felix could affect my parents' health filled me with deep regret and resentment. I made a silent vow to never deal with Felix again. What I didn't expect was that, after marriage, I became increasingly reliant on Ryan's inner thoughts. I made many wrong decisions in my career, and after several investment failures, I ended up losing the family company entirely. And that money somehow ended up in Ryan's wallet. It turned out that all of this was a trap Ryan had set for me. He had long known that his inner thoughts could be heard by others and that he could choose the target of his thoughts. So, Ryan used this to manipulate me into breaking up with Felix. By the way, Felix is indeed the male lead in this world. And the female lead is none other than me, Nina. This was supposed to be a campus romance, a sweet love story that seemed destined by the heavens. But unexpectedly, Ryan, a scheming transmigrator, barged in. Knowing the plot in advance, he disrupted the original trajectory between Felix and me, and one could even say he stole Felix's luck. After Ryan gained everything, dissatisfied with the feeling of being inferior and pitted while interacting with me, he used my money to support a mistress outside. When I, 8 months pregnant, discovered them, he maliciously revealed the entire truth to me, leaving me filled with regret. Once again, he pushed me down the stairs during a moment of my distraction, causing my parents to suffer the pain of losing their child. After my death, my soul lingered at home for a few days. I saw Ryan not only take advantage of my parents' grief over losing their daughter to transfer away most of the marital assets, but also used my parents' trust to swindle away their last bit of savings. He moved in with his mistress into our home and even arranged for his mother and sister to stay at my parents' house. Perhaps the hatred and resentment in my heart were too intense, or perhaps the sight of my parents ending up homeless was too tragic. Somehow, fate gave me a second chance. Ryan did not notice the hatred and sarcasm in my eyes. Wearing a mask of honesty and innocence on his face, he looked completely harmless. After adding me as a friend, I hurried toward the milk tea shop. After walking a few dozen meters, I abruptly turned around and, sure enough, saw Ryan talking on the phone with someone. Even from this distance, I could sense his panic and guilt. Perhaps realizing that I couldn't hear his conversation, he forced himself to remain calm and waved at me. I turned back around and continued toward the milk tea shop. Just like in my previous life, as soon as I arrived, I saw the girl with wavy hair holding a cup of milk tea leaning into Felix's embrace. But unlike in my past life, this time I pushed the door open and went in. Seeing me enter, the girl's face flushed with a flicker of panic. She quickly composed herself, replacing the expression with a gentle smile. As I walked behind Felix, she glanced over his shoulder and met my gaze, a provocative smirk on her face. She almost mouthed the words, "Won't your girlfriend get upset seeing this?" The milk tea shop was bustling with business, the noise of chatter filling the air. Combined with the 20-centimeter height difference, Felix didn't catch what she said. He merely steadied her with a certain distance before gently pushing her away. "I'm sorry, classmate, what did you just say?" "I didn't catch it." Any more acting and she'd be exposed. The girl quickly shook her head awkwardly, saying, "It's nothing, nothing." Seeing her run off with a guilty look, Felix watched her go with a suspicious expression, only to lock eyes with me standing behind him. "Nina, what brings you here?" Felix looked pleasantly surprised. He lifted the bag of milk tea in his hand. "This shop just opened, buy 2 cups and get your favorite merchandise for free. Do you want grape milk or taro milk? You love both of them. But the stickers aren't available yet, I only got a handheld mirror. I'm really torn about whether to wait a little longer." Felix rambled on. Hearing a conversation that felt like a lifetime ago brought tears to my eyes in an instant, and I couldn't help but step forward and hug him. My behavior seemed quite unusual in the crowded milk tea shop. Is this what love between the handsome and beautiful looks like? Sticking together everywhere, but maybe you should mind the setting a little. Felix's ears flushed crimson as he pulled me out of the milk tea shop. I felt incredibly guilty inside. So it was all because Felix wanted to buy me milk tea that he fell into Ryan's trap. Such a simple trick from that girl managed to deceive me in my past life. To avoid thus slaughtering the donkey after it has ground the grain predicted by Ryan, I even withdrew my investment suddenly, causing Felix and his once promising company to fall into a slump. Seeing me crying so sadly, Felix patted my back and asked in confusion. After some thought, I decided to tell him. "Felix, do you know Ryan, the part-time assistant from our college? I ran into him today. He told me to hurry over to the newly opened bubble tea shop to catch you red-handed. As soon as I arrived, I really did see a girl leaning against you in your arms. If I didn't trust you, I probably would have." With a look of fear on my face, I leaned into Felix's arms, whimpering. He was furious at being wrongly accused and wanted to go settle the score with Ryan. I quickly calmed Felix down. I think Ryan is not a simple person, and we still don't know what his purpose is. Rather than alerting him, we might as well wait and see how things develop. Felix agreed, albeit reluctantly. In the evening, I received a message from Ryan. Nina, are you okay? When chatting on social media, his inner thoughts could also travel through the internet. Such an innocent girl like Nina suddenly discovered that Felix is a jerk. I wonder if she can handle it. I hope my concern won't disturb her. The tea-scented vibe was practically wafting right through the phone screen. I immediately picked up my phone and typed a reply. Ryan, what do you mean by that? It's so late, what could possibly be going on? Besides, we're not close. Ryan clearly choked up for a moment, and no inner thoughts came through from the other end of the phone for quite a while. After a while, he sent another message, trying to probe. It's just that I heard from a classmate who saw you looking really down today, so I wanted to check on you. Oh, really? Well, your classmate must have poor eyesight. I was in great spirits all day today. There was another silence from the other end. Then, his inner thoughts came through. What's going on? Did Nina not catch Felix with the other woman? That shouldn't be. Or did Felix manage to trick her somehow? That must be it, my silly Nina. How can you forgive something that goes against your principles? Ryan's deliberately affectionate inner voice made me feel a bit sick. I immediately turned on Do Not Disturb, tossed my phone aside, and fell asleep. As disgusting as it was, Ryan, that little clown, couldn't be deleted just yet. In my previous life, he caused me so much pain, and I still have a big gift I haven't given him. As I expected, no matter how much Ryan pretends to be fine outside, his mother's illness waits for no one. The next day, I ran into Ryan again. He was pulling and tugging with his sister Lily outside the library. Bro, what should we do? If we can't come up with the money, Mom will be kicked out of the hospital. Lily spoke through her tears. That's 100,000 yuan. Even if we save every penny for a year, we won't have enough. If only someone could help us. Ryan's inner voice chimed in at the right moment. What should I do? Maybe I should just drop out of school first. The school should be able to refund half a year's tuition, and I can work part-time to save up the rest. But even then, I'd only have 20,000. I noticed that the Ryan siblings kept glancing my way intentionally or unintentionally while they were speaking. It seemed they had rehearsed this beforehand. Given my personality in my previous life, I would have long been unable to resist speaking up to help them. As I remained silent and a few classmates gradually gathered around to watch, they began to show signs of anxiety on their faces. After all, Ryan is the type of person who is shameless yet cares deeply about his reputation. He wants to get money from me but doesn't want to lose face in public. However, as the Ryan siblings continued their act, they eventually ran out of things to say. Ryan had to pretend he had just noticed me, feigning surprise as he said, Nina, what are you doing here? I'm really sorry you had to witness that embarrassing scene just now. Things have been a bit tough at home lately. Ryan seemed a bit embarrassed, rubbing his hands together. Under his expectant gaze, I slowly spoke up, I understand. Every family has its own struggles, and no one is immune to difficulties. But I believe that with your capabilities, you'll definitely overcome this. Ryan hadn't expected me to say that, and his smile froze on his face. Lily, being young, couldn't hide what was on her mind. After hearing my words, she actually showed dissatisfaction openly and asked in front of everyone, Nina, your family is clearly so wealthy. When you see a classmate's family in difficulty, all you offer is verbal encouragement? My mother is suffering in the hospital, how can you bear to dress and look so glamorous? I smiled calmly and replied, this classmate, we don't know each other, right? Who told you I have money? Besides, even if I were wealthy, I can't help just anyone. This classmate Ryan and I only added each other as contacts yesterday, at most, we're schoolmates. If we follow your logic, does that mean I should take care of every family issue or minor ailment of anyone in the school? Lily's attempt at moral coercion also made the people around start to point fingers at them. TSK, listening to her tone, one would think that girl is already her daughter-in-law. She's really good at using emotional blackmail. Who would willingly marry into a family like that and go looking for trouble? Ryan's face turned pale with anger, and he quickly tried to change the subject, saying, "Nina, my sister didn't mean it that way. She's just feeling anxious." As he spoke, he also urged the onlookers to disperse. After doing all this, he muttered to himself, Lily must have thought Nina's family was wealthy because of her elegant outfit. Unfortunately, now Nina will probably think our family is money-minded. It's all my fault. Lily has never worn a luxury brand in her life, so she's naturally sensitive about such things. Fine, I might as well sell blood if I have to. I'm a grown man, I can't just stand by and watch my mom and sister suffer. Listening to Ryan's pretentious inner thoughts nearly made me sick. Later, he did indeed ensure his mother and Lily no longer suffered. But it came at the cost of draining my family dry. Ryan and his family think I'm ungrateful, believing that everything I have is thanks to Ryan's cunning ways. In my past life, hearing this would have made me feel sorry for them. I would have impulsively gifted Lily several luxury handbags and shoes, and even covered the 100,000 yuan for Ryan's mother's medical expenses. Then Lily would have looked up the prices online, complained to Ryan about how I gave her out-of-season items, and asked if I was treating her like a recycling bin. She would have also criticized me for being clueless, claiming that all I knew was paying medical bills without thinking to buy her mother some nutritional supplements or hire a caregiver, suggesting I was wealthy but heartless. But now, as Ryan was putting on quite a performance in front of me, I turned and walked away as if I hadn't noticed. Panicked, Ryan quickly put aside his little schemes and called out to stop me. His face flashed with a hint of viciousness and impatience he couldn't quite hide in time. I guessed Ryan must have wanted to ask me why, even though I'd clearly heard his inner thoughts. I showed no reaction. However, he could only suppress his frustration and put on an act, asking, "Nina, I was actually wondering if you knew any ways to get money quickly?" Ryan was much more tactful than Lily, at least he didn't directly ask me for money. I rolled my eyes inwardly, but on the surface, I smiled and said, "We're all students. You don't know where to get money, so why do you think I would know? I can only remind you not to do something you shouldn't for the sake of money, as you'll end up losing more than you gain." Ryan didn't understand what I meant. I explained, "News reports have covered this before. People like you, who are short on money, can easily go astray, for instance, by getting addicted to gambling. Every gambler thinks they're the lucky one, destined to become the next big name in gambling. But in this game, only those with immense luck can truly succeed. The idea of getting rich overnight or making a fortune from a small bet is something ordinary people shouldn't even consider." Upon hearing this, Lily retorted, "Ha, my brother would never gamble. Keep your unlucky mouth shut. If you're not going to help, then don't curse us either." Ryan wore a blank expression, but his eyes gleamed with excitement. In his previous life, Ryan had developed a gambling addiction after his financial situation improved dramatically. It was just that our family had a solid foundation, and he had a wife, a mistress, and a career. Gambling was merely one of his pastimes, so he never caused any real trouble. But now, he has nothing, and his life is as dull as a stagnant pool. Once he gets a taste of something sweet, he'll spiral out of control. What's more, he prides himself on having the system's support and considers himself the true protagonist of this world. Hearing my talk about fate earlier would surely pique his interest. I'm not concerned that Ryan might build a fortune using his thoughts-transmitting system. After all, when I first discovered I could hear Ryan's inner thoughts, I spent a long time making sure there wasn't something wrong with my ears. The casino is noisy with voices, and the opponents change each time. If Ryan's inner thoughts were heard by the opponent as soon as he steps up, the other person would surely be confused and wouldn't easily believe it. Moreover, even if the opponent did believe it, so what? There are no kind-hearted people in a casino. If Ryan were to actually use his system, he'd likely end up suffering more than he could handle. A couple of days later, my close friend Lena suddenly informed me that I had become an internet sensation at school. Someone had posted a photo of me on the school's online forum, and there were over 100 comments underneath. Nina is actually the heiress of a listed corporation. I always thought she had that rich lady vibe about her. Didn't you notice her clothes always look so high quality, and she never wears the same outfit twice? I noticed it a long time ago. And her boyfriend is super handsome too. Heavens, so rich, beautiful, and with such good grades, when will it be my turn to be that young lady? The more I looked at the campus forum, the more tightly my brows furrowed. This was not a good thing at all. Lena asked, "What's going on? Haven't you always kept it hidden well? Could this cause trouble?" When I first heard this news, I was puzzled too, as this hadn't happened in my previous life either. But after a moment's thought, I understood. The only variable across 2 lifetimes was that the Ryan siblings hadn't managed to get their hands on the money as smoothly as they had in my previous life. It wasn't hard to guess whose doing that was. After all, for Ryan to shamelessly keep getting close, he must have long since investigated my family's financial background. It's just unclear what tricks these 2 siblings are going to pull this time. Meanwhile, Felix told me that a girl named Sasha had added him as a friend in the past couple of days. At first, this Sasha asked him for advice on starting a business, and he didn't think much of it. But later, she not only spoke in a flirtatious tone but also subtly hinted at putting me down in her remarks. After undergoing my male virtue training, Felix had developed some skill in recognizing cunning individuals. He felt something was off about this girl and quickly informed me. I clicked into Sasha's post, and the person in the photos turned out to be the very girl who leaned against Felix's shoulder at the milk tea shop that day. It seemed Ryan hadn't given up yet. At midnight, I used a secondary account with a male profile picture to add Sasha. After she accepted the friend request, I got straight to the point and asked, "Hello, I was referred by Ryan. I heard you helped him seduce Nina's boyfriend, and I have the same need. 10,000 up front and 20,000 after, do you think you can take it?" The person on the other end hesitated for a moment. I guessed she was checking with Ryan if I was his referral and why he hadn't given her a heads up before telling someone else. But it was already midnight. Based on my past life experience, Ryan's mother has a surgery tomorrow, so he went to bed early tonight. She obviously wouldn't get an answer from Ryan tonight. I didn't give her time to hesitate. Yes or no, give me an answer tonight. If not, I'll find someone else. This is quite urgent. I only came to you because Ryan told me Felix was almost in your grasp. Sasha gritted her teeth and said, "Take it. First, transfer 10,000 to me." After I asked her to show me the payment code, I immediately transferred 10,000 over. "What do you need me to do?" Of course, I had no need for such services. I was only doing this to obtain evidence of Ryan's plot against me. The plan is still being discussed. I'll let you know the day after tomorrow. Only after doing all of this did I feel at ease enough to sleep. 3 days later was Saturday, and as usual, I went home for dinner that night. Unexpectedly, my cousin Ethan suddenly showed up uninvited, bringing Lily along. Today, she wore a washed-out, loose light blue shirt over a plain white t-shirt and jeans. Paired with a ponytail and her delicate, pretty face, the whole outfit made her look pure and elegant. Lily, for her part, didn't seem like an outsider. She put down her bag and sat in the seat next to me. "Hello, Sister Nina. We meet again." I didn't spare her any face, asking her with a face full of confusion, "Have we met?" Lily looked awkward. Ethan seemed displeased. "Nina, this is your future cousin-in-law, Lily." Future cousin-in-law? I don't remember this happening in my past life. It seems the Goose siblings are really desperate. For money, they're even willing to sacrifice Lily's charms to be with a pighead like Ethan. I felt a bit helpless inside. This whole family seems dead set on making me their enemy. Ethan is no good either. The expenses for his studying abroad and his family's house and car were all funded by my family. But in my past life, when my parents were left homeless on the streets, His family fled abroad for a vacation as if avoiding a plague, and even blocked my parents. Before blocking them, he even cursed my dad. Uncle, it's not that I don't want to help you. I've said long ago that Nina will eventually get married. Giving the money to her would have been better off given to me, but you just wouldn't listen, and you even handed over all the shares to her. Now, see? All our family's money has ended up in Ryan's pocket. You brought this upon yourself. Go find somewhere else to cool off. My parents, having not experienced the events of my past life, hold Ethan in high regard because of my aunt. During the meal, my mom was exceptionally warm and kept putting food on Lily's plate. Seeing this, Ethan and Lily gave me smug glances. Pretending to be touched, Lily said to my mom, "Thank you, Auntie. I've never tasted these dishes before. Nina is so lucky. Please don't keep serving me. I think Nina looks unhappy." My mom has always been kind-hearted. Hearing Lily's words, she immediately grew even more attentive to her. Plus, when I heard that Lily was only a sophomore, I immediately felt a bit embarrassed, as if I were leading some innocent girl astray. Ethan very smoothly picked up the conversation. Lily is young and was originally embarrassed to come. She said she wasn't dressed properly and had never seen such nice things before, and was worried she'd be laughed at by going to a rich family's house. He then said to Lily, "I told you so. My uncle and aunt are very kind-hearted and wouldn't look down on you." My dad, seeing how simply Lily was dressed, chimed in right away, saying, "Nina has so many clothes that her closets can't even hold them all. I'll have her pick a few for you later." Before I could say anything, Lily was already tearfully expressing, "Thank you, Nina." After dinner, urged on by Ethan, I took Lily into my walk-in closet. With both hands covering her mouth and her eyes sparkling, Lily exclaimed exaggeratedly, "Oh my God, Nina, you're so lucky. Your parents really love you." She then immediately started browsing through the items as if on a shopping spree. Lily quickly picked out 4 dresses, 3 bags, a coat, and a cashmere sweater. "In my opinion, the bags you selected are all subpar," I suddenly chimed in, startling Lily. "These colors are indeed classic, but they're too old-fashioned for a sophomore like you. Carrying them to school would only invite ridicule." I opened another cabinet and pulled out 2 new models. One was a glacier blue bucket bag, and the other was a strawberry pink printed underarm bag. Their unique color schemes instantly won Lily over. Both of these are new releases from last week. It wasn't easy to get someone to buy them. You won't find many like them in the entire city. I haven't even decided what outfits to pair them with yet. If you want them, you can take them. They suit you much better than the 2 black ones. Just as I anticipated, Lily followed my advice and chose the more difficult-to-get new model. While they were packing the items, I overheard Lily excitedly saying outside the door, "Your sister is really rich. I just looked it up, these bags aren't cheap, and she just gave them to me." Ethan proudly put his arm around her and said, "This is nothing. My uncle and aunt don't have a son, and my uncle only has my mother as his older sister. They just haven't figured things out yet. Once they come around, all these things will be mine." For now, Ethan hasn't had a falling out with my parents, so I quietly recorded his words. Before leaving, Ethan even asked my parents for a 10,000 yuan gift for meeting the family. My mother pulled Ethan aside and said, "The money isn't a big deal, but the tradition here is that it's given when the woman visits for the first time. Ethan, you haven't brought your partner home yet, have you? You didn't come straight to our house, did you?" When Ethan admitted it, my mother was a bit displeased. As a child, Ethan was ashamed of his family's poverty, so every time he brought classmates home to play, he would bring them to our house. To show off how highly he was regarded in our family, Ethan would always be the one to start causing trouble. Boys in their teens have boundless energy, always turning the house upside down, and it takes more than 3 hours to clean up after them. Every time my mother wants to discipline Ethan, my aunt steps in to stop her, asking my parents if they look down on poor relatives now that they've made it big and aren't welcome their nephew coming over to play. After all these years, I never expected Ethan to bring his girlfriend to our house for the first visit. My mother obviously recalled those past incidents. After Ethan left, I played the recording for my parents to hear. They were first astonished, then furious, never expecting that the child they had doted on for so many years would want to seize their daughter's property. I stopped my parents who were about to call Ethan. Some things are best kept to oneself. Although my parents didn't confront Ethan, they made their will ahead of time, designating me as the sole heir to all their property before they could feel at ease. After class on Monday, Ryan was waiting for me outside the classroom. As soon as I stepped out, he rushed over, pulled me aside, and asked anxiously, "Nina, could you lend me some money?" "Lend some money? How much are we talking about?" Ryan hesitated for a moment. 500,000. I said incredulously, 500,000? I remember your mother's illness only requires 100,000. Why borrow so much? He stammered, "Well, it's because Lily is in a relationship. A girl always needs some money, or she'll be looked down upon. It's also good to have some dowry for the future. Plus, my mother's illness requires money too." I sneered, "Borrowing money from my family to use as a dowry into my family, isn't that just unnecessary trouble? I think you shouldn't make things so complicated. My aunt's family aren't the type to care much about money. They'll understand." Seeing that I was unmoved, Ryan wiped the sweat from his forehead and finally told the truth. "Well, Nina, the thing is, I recently fell into a bit of debt, so I wanted to borrow from you." "What happened that required so much money?" Ryan looked as if it was hard for him to speak. "My family is short on money, and I was in a hurry. I wanted to try my luck and make some quick cash, but I got scammed." "You gambled?" I exclaimed loudly, my expression one of surprise, but inside I was secretly delighted. It was right after class when the hallways were crowded. The classmates outside the classroom exchanged glances upon hearing my words, and a few even stopped to watch the commotion. Although I have a bit of spare cash, it didn't come easily. Gambling is a bottomless pit. If I lend it to you, wouldn't it just go to waste? Ryan hastily and firmly retorted, "No, Nina. You have to believe me. I have a feeling I'll definitely recoup all my losses in one go." He didn't see the triumphant smile that curled at the corner of my lips. As I had expected, Ryan had indeed taken the bait. His current state showed he was clearly deeply addicted and unable to extricate himself. The people at the casino are professionals. I don't even need to spend money to lure Ryan in. As long as he's willing to step inside, the casino will naturally find a way to trap him for good. At first, it was the smug satisfaction of winning a small amount, then the growing confidence as he won more and more, followed by the unwillingness to accept his first loss, and finally, the delusional desire to turn things around only to sink deeper into the hole. "I won't give you any money, so don't waste your effort." As I walked away, I saw his classmates pointing and whispering about him. Ryan's face turned ashen, but deep down, I felt nothing but satisfaction. In my past life, under his influence, I mistook worthless things for treasures, losing everything in the process, and ended up becoming a joke in others' eyes. This is what he deserves. Early the next morning, my parents called me. It turned out that Uncle Arden and the others had informed my dad that Ethan had been borrowing money in our family's name all over the place, totaling over 1,000,000 yuan. Ethan has a car, a house, and a job now. What on earth does he need to borrow so much money for? I finally found out after asking around. It was all borrowed for Lily's family, the girl he brought home that day. He said her mother was sick and couldn't afford treatment. But before lending the money, Uncle Arden had a moment of caution and looked into it. It turns out Lily's mother's medical expenses only amounted to 100,000 or so. The extra was all for her brother's gambling debts. Borrowed over 1,000,000? Ryan's appetite is quite big. The excess was probably meant to be used as gambling funds. I told Mom not to meddle in other people's business. She was a bit surprised. "Nina, I feel like you've changed recently. Has someone outside been bullying you?" Since childhood, I've had strong empathy and couldn't stand to see others suffer. But recently, I've been acting too indifferent toward Ryan's family situation. No wonder Mom finds it strange. I felt deeply touched. "Mom, I'm fine, don't worry. I just knew from the start that there wasn't a decent person in Ryan's family, so I was being cautious with them. To prevent Ryan from targeting my family, I told my parents about Ryan's superhuman abilities, but they thought I was having mental issues. I don't expect them to process this information immediately. I just kept emphasizing repeatedly that they must stay away from those individuals. At noon, I was having lunch with Felix near the school when halfway through the meal, I felt people around me giving me strange looks. Isn't that the little rich girl Nina? The one whose family is rolling in money. If I were her, I would have paid that 100,000 yuan. Spending the cost of a bag to save a life brings blessings and accumulates virtue. That's right. I heard the girl is about to marry her cousin. How can she just stand by and watch? Clearly, 100,000 yuan is nothing to her, yet it could save someone's life. I was confused. Felix quickly opened his phone to search and found that someone had posted online exposing black material about my father's company. The informant wrote that not only does the company's boss allow his nephew to rack up over $1 million in debt, but he also turns a blind eye to a seriously ill relative, earning a reputation as the scum among deadbeats and the deadbeat among scum. No need to think to know who did it. The so-called pitiful girl they mentioned was Lily. Even Lily herself posted some manipulative remarks on social media. Her eyes were red, looking vulnerable yet stubborn. Thank you all for your attention and help. My mother's medical expenses have mostly been covered now. I do know Ms. Nina and her family, but in the end, whether or not they offer help is their choice, and I can't morally pressure anyone. Many commenters praised Lily, calling her so righteous and a clear-headed girl. Meanwhile, under my family's company's account, the comments were filled with criticism. I logged into my account and checked Lily's recent posts. Sure enough, in the corner of the background, I spotted the handbag I had given her. I took a screenshot, zoomed in, and circled it. I thought girls who carry MFC don't need financial assistance. I also posted screenshots of my charitable donations over the years and my chat history with Sasha. My principle is to help those in urgent need, not the lazy, and certainly not gamblers. This immediately caused an uproar among netizens who had followed the story. Oh my gosh, so this Lily is also a wealthy woman? What is she pretending for? I get 1,500 yuan a month for living expenses, and I just donated 500 to her mother. But when I looked it up, this bag of hers costs 50,000. Now I really don't dare to do charity casually. Who knows, they might be richer than you. If she was really that worried about her mother's illness, she could sell a bag to cover half of it. TSK, her brother also secretly framed the rich girl's boyfriend. He's not a good guy either. Her boyfriend is the campus heartthrob. Does her brother really think he stands a chance by getting rid of someone else? Ha ha ha. Some seemingly rational netizens also commented, wait, could it be that the girl bought a high-quality fake out of vanity? Overthinking it. This bag is a brand new release, there are barely 2 in the entire city. Counterfeits wouldn't come out this quickly, usually, it's the classic styles that get copied more. I think this Nina has a point. If it were me, I wouldn't lend money to a gambling family either, it's just a bottomless pit. Seeing the tide of opinion turn, Lily quickly explained, that's not it. This bag was actually a gift from Nina before. My family is really in a tough spot. After waking up to the truth, netizens are no longer easily fooled by her, so why did you hint before that Nina was stingy? You got a bag worth tens of thousands, what more do you want? Is stirring up drama really that fun? I have this girl's post saved. By the way, she hasn't just added this one luxury bag recently, but also quietly flaunted some high-end designer clothes. I was wondering where it all came from, turns out it's from Nina, no wonder. This is hilarious. When someone else gifts me 100,000 yuan luxury item, I won't breathe a word, but when I don't pay for medical bills, I go all out. Not only that, I also posted screenshots of the transfers I made to Ethan's family over the years. If Lily is really in such a tough spot, she could just ask her own fiancé for help instead of going around in circles. In the last 2 years, our family transferred approximately 5 million in total to Auntie's household. Auntie used that money to buy the house where Ethan currently lives. Birds of a feather flock together, indeed. These two are the same. Once money goes into their pockets, they're unwilling to part with it. They either rely on donations or emotionally manipulate relatives, sticking to the principle of not spending a single cent of their own. Lily's comment section was flooded with a unified chorus of scammer. Refund. Since donated funds couldn't be returned, over $300,000 still ended up in Lily's pocket. The medical expenses were covered, but they were still over $100,000 short of filling Ryan's financial hole. Besides, that was high-interest debt, interest upon interest, piling up. Unexpectedly, Ryan, itching to gamble but lacking the funds, didn't go to beg my parents. Instead, he set his sights on Ethan. I don't know how he managed to deceive Ethan with his mental voice, but he actually made Ethan willingly hand over $1 million to fund his gambling habit. Even the casino owner never expected to squeeze so much money out of a poor guy like Ryan. Overjoyed, he became even more enthusiastic toward him. In just over a month, when I saw Ryan again, his eyes were sunken, and he was emaciated, as if all his life force had been drained out of him. There was not a shred of vitality left in him. He knelt on the ground, but he didn't ask me for money to turn things around. Instead, he told me that his sister had been dumped by Ethan. I thought to myself, Ethan is someone who loves money so much. You cheated him out of over $1 million, and it's already good that he didn't beat you up. He also said his mother had fallen ill again, which he claimed was caused by him, and begged me to give him some medical expenses. I generously gave him $50,000 and posted about the incident on social media. The comments section saw a wave of people saying that Nina is beautiful and kind-hearted, which also served as some advertisement for the family. After being swindled out of money, Ethan tried to get close to my parents again. Although my parents believed in the past life story I had told them, and were willing to spend some time with Ethan every day, they didn't give him a single penny. For over a month, Ethan trailed behind them like a loyal pup, hoping to get some cash out of the deal. But when he realized there was no money to be had, he flew into a rage, cursing loudly, and never came back. My parents had held on to a glimmer of hope, but now they were completely heartbroken. As for Ryan, after being completely drained by the casino, he lost all motivation. The debt collectors, seeing him in such a state, directly broke his legs and dumped him on the roadside. Ryan went insane from that day on, constantly shouting, "It shouldn't be like this. My fate isn't supposed to be this way. I am the male lead of this world. I am Nina's husband, the entire conglomerate of her family will soon be mine, ha ha ha, you are all my defeated opponents." After I started working, he harassed me every day at the company entrance. I was just wondering how to deal with this persistent pest. A few days later, he suddenly disappeared. According to my assistant, he not only refused to repay the debt when the debt collectors came, but also insulted them. He claimed that he was the protagonist and a man destined for great wealth and fortune. He called them blind, a bunch of worthless debt collectors who weren't even worthy of licking his shoes in the future. They were all hot-tempered and couldn't stand to hear that. With a heavy hand, they ended up killing him. So that's what happened. Without the substantial funds from my family supporting her this lifetime, Ryan's mother passed away in the hospital not long ago, filled with resentment. As for Lily, she ended up becoming the mistress of an old man, spending her days meek and obedient, no longer a threat to me. Felix called me, inviting me to watch the fireworks by the river tonight. I knew he was planning to propose. Yesterday I accidentally saw the ring he had secretly prepared. My heart felt at ease. In this life, I would not repeat the same mistakes.